right off the hop. I apologize for the muted mic there, ladies and gentlemen. We are trying something a little bit new on the stream, but it is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, and I am joined by the one, the only, the brother from the same mother, Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo! That was the longest intro of life.
Well, Dan, it gives. I've had some people say they don't have enough time to click onto the stream and they miss the beginning.
Okay.
So I've extended it. I listen to the people. I listen to the struggle because I represent the streets. I represent the hood. I represent you.
Listen.
God did another one. Yeah. DJ Khaled. Yeah. Anyways, we have a big game today in the Canadian Football League after, I think, every game at this point in the season is a big game, realistically, as you have teams fighting for playoff positioning. And you know what? Let's just be honest here of what happened last night at Edmonton, which we were at the game. So thank you very much for all your comments and views on social media. We really do appreciate that. And we will be trying to do more content like that when we are out and about, or out and a boot, as Americans think Canadians say. But you have the 1-6 Elks versus the 5-3 Owls. However, I could think you could make the argument that I think right now the Owls are playing a little bit better. I mean, the Elks are playing a little bit better football. Like if we're taking away the win-loss, which unfortunately is the exact same thing we said about Edmonton last year, Dan, you know, before we knew this island even existed. We kind of said we thought Edmonton was playing some good football. They just weren't getting the job done. So what do you think will change tonight? Like Cody Fajardo starting again, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon. But do you think Edmonton can beat Montreal, or is Montreal going to right the ship?
I feel really bad for the Edmonton fans out there. I feel like we've been saying about their past 3 seasons. You know, if you don't look at the record, we're really good. Well, the record's the one thing that counts. But I think they legitimately have a good chance of winning. I was going to say the Alouettes are going to win, but then as soon as I found out Cody Fajardo is starting for Edmonton, I know he's 0-2, but he's thrown for over 300 yards in all his starts. And even the games he came in to play, he looked very good, a very high percentage pass completion. He looked really, really good. And as soon as I found out he was playing against his former team that gave up on him after he won the Grey Cup and the Grey Cup MVP, I logged right into my Streakers app and I challenged a whole bunch of people, rivalries, and set up a sports booth to go for the Edmonton Elks. I think I'm going to get some Streaker points tonight.
And I will say, you know, if we go back and to June 19th, the last time these two teams played, Edmonton did actually give Montreal a run for their money, outscoring them in the fourth quarter 22-10.
That's
so
right.
It was 38-28. And I think Montreal was playing a bit better at that point, and I think Edmonton was playing a bit worse. Trey Ford was still the quarterback at the time, although Ford did actually have a pretty decent game that game, going 27 for 36, 308, 2 TDs, and an interception. And it's more than decent. That's actually pretty good. But I think the big thing for Edmonton today is you look at the way they're playing football as of right now. And okay, they lost their last game to the Riders. Lost last game to the Ticats 28-24. And then they lost their game prior to the Riders 21-18. And you feel like ever since Cody Fajardo has came in to be the starting quarterback after Trey Ford's last game so far of the year, which was against BC, where he went 4 for 12, 34 yards and an interception. I felt this Edmonton offense has looked more confident. Like they look better in my opinion. Like I'm not saying this Edmonton team's an all-star team, but I do think they've shown improvement and growth.
The defense is like an all-star defense.
Montreal's defense is not as good as I think it's been of late.
No, I mean Edmonton's defense.
Edmonton's defense has looked better of late. That defensive line, I still think needs to do more. And
but on paper, they got some all-star caliber players. Like
they do.
Jake Selesna, arguably one of the best defensive line in the league. I know he hasn't been proven it this year, but in previous years past.
And you know what, too? You're going against a Montreal squad that you look at their scoring differential, 197 points for, 192 points against.
Ooh.
You know what? Montreal is at 5-3, but like ever with Davis Alexander out of the lineup and MBT, who I think will be motivated to go against his former club, a club that clearly didn't feel he was up to snub. But I'm just not really feeling this Montreal team right now, although they do have a chance to tie for first in the East with Hamilton's, I'm going to call it as I see it, a devastating loss for the Ticats last night. It was a sold-out crowd, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander Day, and unfortunately, a fumble in overtime after you put together a quick hell of a drive to get in the field goal range and kick the field goal. It's tough, right? It's a tough way to lose. But now Montreal's got a chance to tie them. Hamilton would still technically be winning the division because they've won the season series and have their point differentials a lot better. Hamilton is the highest scoring team in the Canadian Football League as of right now. But I truly feel this is a game that I think Edmonton can get back on track. And I think they got to do it soon because they're 6 points behind Winnipeg and BC. But they have 2 games in hand over BC. That's a critical number there.
Well, the thing is, like in years past, I would have said if it was Bethel Thompson versus Cody Fajardo, I would have picked Bethel Thompson to win the game. But this year, if you look at the numbers, Bethel Thompson's much weak. I love you, dude, but you're having a rough year, Bethel Thompson. You know, you're very weak. And Cody Fajardo's having a great year. So that's why I'm picking Edmonton to win this game. And definitely not the year. But when it comes to, I think I'll have to say, I hate to say it, but I think for Edmonton, this is their do-or-die situation.
I agree.
Tonight. I really do. I know we normally say when Labor Day to be the do-or-die game, but 1-6, bro. You're not gonna get much better.
Well, you're 1-6.
1-7.
You're 1-6 in the West, right? So you got to get over Winnipeg or BC and Toronto and Ottawa to at least get that crossover. Because the West, I think for these lower seeded teams, you're probably looking crossover because you have Saskatchewan and Calgary, who I think are going to be your 1 and 2, and then you're going to have Winnipeg and BC fighting for. I'm totally drawing a blank. Winnipeg, BC. Yes, Winnipeg, BC, at Edmonton. They're all fighting for Winnipeg, BC, Edmonton, Toronto, and Ottawa are all basically fighting for 2 playoff spots. I know Calgary's on a 2-game slump. I think that's going to get snapped this weekend with VA back. And you basically have all these teams fighting for 2 playoff spots.
Yeah, which is crazy when you come to think of it.
So I think for Edmonton, if you can find a way to get a win here and then you go on an Eastern swing, you're going to have to basically win out in your Eastern swing, but it is doable. For Montreal, on the other hand, hypothetically, if you lose today and Toronto or Ottawa will win tomorrow, I mean, I get these 2 teams don't know how to win, but someone has to win out of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's got to win. You're only 4 points behind Montreal for second in the East all of a sudden. Right? So all of a sudden things become a lot tighter. Now, Toronto doesn't have any more games against Montreal. I believe Ottawa still does. So if you're Montreal, you're a little bit like, oh boy, we need to kind of continue to. They were really running away with it. Then Davis Alexander got hurt. Then he came back. Then he got hurt again. To be honest, I think he came back too early. I think they should have given him at least one more week. They always say if a hamstring, when you're injured and you're feeling healthy, take another week, then get back into the lineup. But I think for Edmonton, I agree with you, Mr. Morford. This is a do or die game for the Edmonton Elks. You have to win this one.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, all the other teams have at least 2 wins, right? So I think you could get away with saying, depending on the situation of how this weekend goes, I think you could say Labor Day weekend could be for the last do or die situation. We also say the CFL season really starts amping up to predict the playoff matches during the Labor Day weekend, right? We always say that. But I think for Edmonton, being 1-6 and all the other teams having at least 2 wins, I think I think this is kind of your last shot. And then if they lose this game and if they lose Labor Day too, then after that we will start seeing, okay, then you're going to start looking in the future. You're going to see, are you going to go with Trey Ford as your future? Or are you going to go with a veteran and go with Cody Fajardo as your future, as your franchise quarterback, right? So should be a really interesting couple of weeks in Edmonton, either way.
Well, and I'm just going to call it out here. Cody Fajardo is only 33 and is still playing at a high level.
Well, that's what I mean. Right?
I
He
think
could have
Edmonton
Raven there for
maybe
7
needs
years.
to consider, do you maybe move on from Trey Ford after this season? And do you give Cody Fajardo this team? This offense under Cody Fajardo has looked a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is my big thing for me is that, let's be honest, the offense under Trey Ford didn't look terrific, right? Like it would certainly have its moments, but at the end of the day, it just couldn't consistently put up points. And consistency is key in the Canadian Football League, especially for an offense.
Trey Ford is like your highlight quarterback, right? When it comes to highlight of a night, he got to hands down. He's probably the best highlight quarterback in the league. But let's be honest here, even the player said it, they felt the leadership of Cody Fajardo, right? They look to him as the leader. And I'm not even saying that's Trey Ford's fault. He doesn't have the experience as a leader, but this team desperately needs a leader. And if your team is looking at Cody Fajardo versus Trey Ford, I think you have to go with Cody Fajardo. And like I said on the Ivan here a couple weeks ago, I'm not saying Trey Ford's a bad quarterback. Maybe he just needs a team. You look at a team like, God forbid, if Chad Kelly doesn't play in the future, right? You got to look at a team like the Argos. You don't really need your quarterback to be the leader of the dressing room because you have a legendary general manager, probably the best CFL player of all time at Pinball Clemens. You have Ryan Dinwiddie, who has won 2 Grey Cups, and he's a veteran leader coach. You have someone like Winterman Mannix, who's a veteran leader on the defense, and you got a lot of leadership keys in that Argos dressing room. So you don't necessarily need your quarterback to be the leader, right? So maybe Trey Ford could be a good fit in Toronto, or maybe Trey Ford could be a good fit in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if Trey Ford goes anywhere else in this offseason, which again, this season's still young enough, we're not there yet.
Right.
But if he's going anywhere in this offseason, I could really see Winnipeg, if Zach Collaros continues to play, I've been calling it the last few weeks, mediocre. Zach Collaros this season has been mediocre. But going to the Montreal Alouettes, obviously we know they don't have Davis Alexander. But they're also going to be out. They also will not have DeQuad tonight, who is he's one of their better DBs on the team.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And same with Justin Lawrence on the offensive line. And I think Montreal is going to extend this losing streak to 3 games. They just have not. Yeah. This have not looked good. There's no other way to put it. This team looks very lost. I know, Dan, you're an MBT fan.
I am. I really like him, but there's no denying he's having a bad year.
I mean, not just a bad year. He's not even like. And you look at Montreal. Okay, they did manage to beat Calgary, but then they actually have won 2 of their last 3, but they lost to BC, then barely beat Toronto with Alexander back. Then they did beat Calgary with MBT, which that was a very close game, but that was the game again. Vernon Adams Jr. gets hurt, so not to be whatever.
If they won,
if Vernon Adams Jr. doesn't get hurt that game, I don't think Montreal wins that game because PJ Walker really struggled. Then you kind of saw what this offense is really like without Davis Alexander, and the Rough Riders completely blew the doors off from 34-6. But my more concern actually for Montreal, giving up 36 points is. Only scoring 6 points is terrible, but giving up 34 when you're built on defense, that's my bigger concern about the Montreal Alouettes right now. And this Edmonton offense is actually rolling. Like right now, this Edmonton offense, I do believe, is playing the best football it's played. With Cody Fajardo in the last 2 games he's thrown for About 350 yards, 3 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Call me crazy, but I don't think these past 2 games, like best games we've seen in Edmonton this year, I think is pretty well the best we've seen this offense in past 3 seasons.
I don't know about that. Trey Ford has flashed some moments as a starter in the CFL. He has, Dan. He's been able to, at times, Trey Ford to me is like Nathan Rourke, but a couple steps back. At times, they flash brilliance, but they don't do it consistently. Now, Nathan Rourke just played the best game I think he has played since returning from the NFL. But even in that game, you think about he went from a tying drive to the drive before, throwing a terrible interception under pressure. He is, and Trey Ford is that exact same beast. He makes some plays that are unbelievable, but then he also makes some mistakes that are unbelievable. And the difference is with Cody Fajardo, he is consistent. He's kind of like Trevor Harris, but mobile. He's very, very accurate. He has a deep enough arm to stretch the defense. He's really good at reading defenses for those quick screen plays. But at his mobility, I don't know, Dan, I'm sure you remember, I liked Cody Fajardo back in Saskatchewan. And when they got rid of Fajardo, I kept saying, I think Harris is a little bit better, but I don't think Cody Fajardo was the problem. And I'm sorry, Rough Rider fan and Rider Nation, but it's not like you guys have won a Grey Cup since you let go of Cody Fajardo, and you can go the other way, and Cody Fajardo has won a Grey Cup since you let him go. Never mind win a Grey Cup, he's won a Grey Cup MVP. So it's just a completely different situation. And I think Edmonton can get this done tonight. And if they don't, I'm still going with Cody Fajardo as my starter for now, because I think, truthfully, I think they need to evaluate the rest of the offensive pieces that they have. And I think the best way to evaluate everyone else is with a quarterback that is experienced and can run that offense.
Well, for sure. I mean, if you asked me last week, I honestly would have said that I think Trey Ford has more potential than Nathan York. However, if you were following the Streakers media on Streakers Gaming and Streakers Island, we were at hello, Lane. We were at the Ticats game with Lane actually last night, and by far Nathan York, full 100 yards passing. I know the game went in overtime and yet make some mistakes, but he played very well. So after last night's game, I would say Nathan York is better than Trey Ford at this point. I hate saying that because I'm a Trey Ford fan, but you got to give credit where credit was due. That was an incredible game last night from BC. I can't get over that they took Hamilton in overtime and won.
Yeah, it was interesting, though, about that game. I was talking with friend of the program, Dan Gray, who is would have joined us, but he's on date night. So hello to his wife. And I'm sure they're listening.
Actually, Mr. Dasko was on date night too.
What is more romantic than the Streakers Island podcast on date night? Absolutely.
Yeah, come on. We're gorgeous, bro.
But what I'm saying is, though, and he said this too, you really wonder Hamilton even pushing the ball downfield when that offense, the Lions offense wasn't playing well. Maybe you just run the ball twice, kick a field goal, and say to them, you got to score a touchdown and get your defense to make a stop.
Right.
Because then again, it's putting pressure on Nathan Rourke, which we all know. Dan, you called it back when he was crying when he lost to Winnipeg in the Western Final, that he just doesn't handle pressure as well. And Lane, I don't blame you. You know what? I will say, I'm going to be honest here. Island Nation, I went undercover as a Ticat fan. I wanted to experience what it was. And also, too, I wanted the Lions to lose to help my Argos. But anyways. And I was heartbroken about that loss because you felt like it was such a winnable game for Hamilton. And the key for the Tiger Cats now, and I was saying this to Mr. Dashing, is now the key is just don't let this snowball. You lost a game. You're going to lose games, right? The Blue Jays went on a pretty bad streak of baseball, and then they scored the most runs in a 3-game span in franchise history.
They're on again tonight against LA.
We'll get into this more tomorrow, but I'm very, very curious about how the Jays will do against the Dodgers after a real sleep of a series against the Rockies. It's when you're basically playing a AAA club, because that's what the Rockies look like, and now you got to go play a top team in baseball, right? Are they going to be able to ramp that up again, or is it just going to come back down? But back to the Ticats quickly here, and then we'll get back into more about tonight. I think the big issue with Hamilton was I think this team got a little too cocky. I think it was right after the game against Edmonton when Levi Mitchell was yelling into the camera, "Did you have any doubt when there's 2 minutes left in a game?" And Cody Fajardo got the ball back. And then, by the way, Cody Fajardo did drive all the way down. Julian Grant just dropped it in the end zone.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest drop of the year.
So I think Hamilton could have easily lost last week. So at the end of the day, time will tell. But Lane, I think Tim White has become the new Mitch Marner.
Oh.
So time will tell here what's going on there with Mr. Timothy. Wow. Yeah, we're really going to have to see what Hamilton does. And yet, Lane, you have zero confidence in your Ticats. I look at it, you're still first in the East. No matter what happens today, you will be still first in the East.
Yeah.
But I'm going to actually give Lane a benefit of the doubt here and sort of agree with him. Not to the extent he is. But you know how you guys are more confident? You know, Dan, you're always more confident in the Jays than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, well, it's because the Jays haven't done it recently. Well, ever since the Ticats went to the Grey Cup back-to-back, I know they didn't win, but like they got to the Grey Cup twice. So like there was confidence in that group. They've been able to do it ever since. Right? And I think that's a big reason why, funny enough, you know, talking to other Ticats fans, funny enough, they're actually talking a very similar language to Lane. And I think it's because this team hasn't been able to get it done. And realistically, as we joke about on the island, Lane will say to us, how's it feel being 2-6? And we'll say, how does it feel living back in 1999? It's all jokes. But the Ticats haven't gotten a Grey Cup since 99. So it's even like the Montreal Alouettes. There's more faith in that team because they won a Grey Cup 2 years ago. There's more faith in Winnipeg on a slump than Ottawa on a slump, for example, because, well, Ottawa hasn't got it done since Smiling Hank. Winnipeg has been to the Grey Cup 5 straight years in a row. So you have confidence that Winnipeg will find a way. Winnipeg and BC have the same record right now. And if you went, mind you, BC's played more games. But if you went and talked to everyone and said, who's got a better chance of winning the Grey Cup out of these two bottom feeders in the West, everyone is going to say Winnipeg over BC because they have made it there 5 years in a row.
100%.
So I think that is why, you know, when you talk to Lane and other Ticat fans, they aren't as confident just because it's like, well, it's harder to be confident in a team that has not been able to get it done. I think
totally
that's the big thing.
I totally get it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, time will tell. I will say Tim White has been inconsistent over the Levi Mitchell era.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but does the Ticats have the biggest Grey Cup drought in the CFL right now?
Yeah, next biggest is Saskatchewan since 2013, I believe.
What happens in Calgary? BC, when they will win last?
I don't know off the top of my head, Dan. I am close to a CFL encyclopedia, but not quite.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I don't know if we're going to get into this episode because we're kind of getting close to kickoff, but maybe it'll be on our pre-recorded show. All three of us, as we were at the Ticats game, and we were also at the Say Alexander celebration. We were comparing notes to the atmosphere of the stadium of Hamilton versus Toronto versus Ottawa versus BC, right? Because we've been lucky enough to go to different stadiums throughout the CFL. I don't think we have enough time to talk about it today, but we'll probably talk about that on our pre-recorded episode, I'm guessing, that will air on Monday. So definitely keep your ears and eyes open to that, as is a really interesting topic that I don't think really gets talked about. You know, as we like to talk about on the island, we're not just talking about the actual game of sports. We also talk about the business of sports. This is kind of a really unique topic that other people don't talk about.
So Dan, just as a little, I did a quick Google search for you.
Thank you.
Hamilton last won in 99.
Correct.
Lions was 2011.
Riders that was with what's his face? That's quarterback.
Red Blacks 2016.
Yeah.
Stampeders 2018.
Oh,
Blue Bombers 21.
Mm-hmm.
Alouettes 23. We won't talk about the pandemic years. And the Argonauts in 24.
What about Edmonton?
I don't know why it's not showing me Edmonton. It's not giving me Edmonton's.
Could it be because of how Ricky Way won a Grey Cup?
Yeah, let me.
But maybe I'm wrong. Who is the BC quarterback in 11? I can picture him. I can't figure his name.
I'm not.
Wider? No, what was Wilder? What was his name?
The last time Edmonton won a Grey Cup was in 2015.
I vow it's Ricky Way, yeah.
Under the Eskimos, not the Elks.
Who was the guy? Come on, Jacob. Big guy, BC. Big quarterback. Big, strong quarterback. It's like a hockey player's name. He played up to very recently. He retired about 4 years ago.
I don't think it was Michael Riley who was their Grey Cup.
Riley, that's it. Yeah,
it wasn't Michael Riley, though. It was Travis Lulay.
Oh, okay.
Winning a Grey Cup MVP that year as well.
Wow.
But before we sign off, as we're getting right up to kickoff here, we've kind of broken down this game for both teams. I'm gonna call it out a must-win for Edmonton, a needed win for Montreal. What I mean the difference there is Montreal's season is by no means done if they lose tonight.
No.
If Edmonton loses tonight, especially with BC's win, it's getting tough. It's getting very, very tough for Edmonton to make a push into these playoffs just because, a team like Calgary, who was pretty poop last year, is now very good.
Yes.
And Winnipeg isn't playing great, but they're finding ways to win ball games. But I want to quickly ask you, Mr. Moore, are you sticking with Edmonton as your pick?
I am. I know it's the underdog pick. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I think the deal factor for me is Cody. I know Buffalo Thompson's playing his former team too, but the deal breaker for me is Cody Fajardo facing Montreal. I mean, I think Cody Fajardo got a really bum rap in Montreal. He won the Grey Cup. He won the MVP. Then they traded him for Buffalo Thompson. I mean, to let Alexander take the helm. I mean, what else could Cody Fajardo possibly do for that Montreal franchise?
It was a weird situation. I'm also taking Edmonton and quickly looking at our props for tonight. If you've all played along in our sports booth and has picked all our props, as a reminder, the props are Cody Fajardo, 275 and a touchdown. McLeod Buffalo Thompson, 200 yards. Elks, 120 yards combined rushing. Montreal D to keep Edmonton under 18 points in the first half. And yes or less, 49 points. Those are the props. We're sticking to them. We'll be back later tonight to break down this game. And of course, make sure you're following us on all the social medias. We'll be at the Argo Red-Black game on Saturday. So we might not have time to put out a live pregame show, but I will post something for like a pregame to get you teed up for that matchup. And then remember, Dan, you could not remember what was happening Sunday.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you what's happening Sunday.
Thank you. I've been going crazy.
I've been waiting to see if Dan's memory would ever kick back in, but it will not. This Sunday, for the first time on the Streakers Island podcast, we will be breaking down a video game trailer. The NHL 26 trailer dropped. We will break that down. I still haven't watched the trailer, by the way. Unfortunately, one key thing got spoiled for me. I'm not going to spoil it for Dan because I'm hoping he doesn't know yet.
I think I've seen the same thing.
Unfortunately, I think he has. But you know what? The one thing. But besides that, I don't know anything else about the trailer. So I can't wait to break it down with you legends. And I'm sure we'll end up being a live show. I'm sure we'll talk CFL, MLB, the whole kit and caboodle. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys at the post-game show.
And
make sure you download the Streakers app.
If you want this beautiful hat, we take listen to what you've been saying on the island, and hats are coming.
No. If you want that hat, you find Dan in an alley, and you just jump him, right?
Okay.
And
you want one of my sweats? There, go for it. But if you want a nice fresh green hat, if you want a fresh green hat, they are coming, and pretty soon you'll be able to pre-order them on our website for first limited edition Streakers hat. And if you want a gangster retro Pro Sports Guru hat, we do have them, and you can buy them on our website as well. So when you play Streakers,
they're not on the website quite yet,
but it will be.
but they will be very soon. And just to show you guys some of that retro swag that's coming
Look
up,
at that. Doesn't it look
the
amazing?
Pro Sports Guru Retro Edition hat. And if you're looking to get a bundle, just we're gonna have a bundle coming out, which is the new Streakers gaming shirts are coming. They're going to be more like a golf shirt, but we are going to be selling off the last remaining of the Streakers retro. So make sure these will be on our website for the next couple days. We will be accepting pre-orders. So make sure you grab it while you can, because once it's gone, it's gone. So make sure you grab that Pro Sports Guru swag and the retro Streakers gaming clothing. But we got to go. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to keep an eye on our store, which will be live within the next couple days. Chazzy and I we've been working away on it. So we'll have that done for you next couple days when you're.
And I've been the supervisor.
Swag. So thank you very much for watching. I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst, joined by Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
We'll see you guys on the flip side for the post.
Bye-bye.